Michael.
When its highest exponent is 2.
Good. When its highest exponent is 2. So like if it has a variable x, its x squared is the highest thing it has. Okay, good. So what we're doing here, guys, is what I said in my prayer. We're working backwards. So you have to think a little bit. But once you get the process down, hopefully it's not too bad. Okay. In these problems, I'm going to give you the two solutions for the equation, the quadratic equation. So x equals -3 and x equals +5. Those are your answers. You remember yesterday you were trying to get these answers and then you check them to see if they work? Okay, today I'm giving you the answers. I want you to give me the equation. I want you to give me the quadratic equation. You're like, how are you going to do that? I remember growing up, I did not do this in Algebra 1 or 2. I didn't do it. But I'm like, now that I look through it, I'm like, whoa. Okay, the reason I'm going to make you do it, and this is not the whole lesson, just part of that lesson, is because I want you to see the importance of x-intercepts. So you guys remember that these are the x-intercepts? So what does that mean? It's where my parabola hits the x-axis, the x-axis. So it hits it at +5 and -3. Okay, now I'm, just with those two pieces of info, am going to find the quadratic equation. Okay, so this is what you need to do. We're working backwards. Some of it will look similar. Some of it will be like, I've never seen that before. Hopefully that's not the case. If these two were the answer, didn't you have two binomials and they multiplied to get me 0? Do you guys remember that? That's what you would have gotten to get to that step. So remember, working backwards. And one of them would have been x. How would I have dealt with that? It was x +3, right? Remember it was flipped? And then the other one would be x -5 in this case. Okay. How many of you could get that?
It could have been something different. Oh.
Not on this one.
Because it could have been like x equals 6, and it could have been like x or 2x minus 5.
So are we doing this?
We'll get to those. Those are the hard ones. This is the easy one.
So are we doing what we did but in reverse?
Reverse. Yes. Now, listen carefully. I still want a quadratic equation and still my highest power is x to the first. So does anyone know what I should do? FOIL it. Use the distributive property. So f, x times x, x times -5, 3 times x, 3 times -5. And it still equals 0, so that doesn't just disappear. And then, if I add the like terms, I end up with x squared minus 2x minus 15 equals 0. And that is a quadratic equation. That is my answer. Sorry?
Why would you want to get the
Because if I just know the x-intercepts, I can come up with the equation. So if all you had was x-intercepts where it hits, you can come up with the whole parabola because now I can graph the whole parabola just by two pieces of info. So I'm trying to emphasize the importance of x-intercepts. Like they're super important. Okay, this is the most, this is the least complicated of the problems. Okay, let me give you a problem, see if you guys can figure it out. So remember, this is easy difficulty. We will get tougher. The two answers are x equals -3 and x equals +7. Go ahead and find me the quadratic equation. And don't say it out loud, just get it. Do your best on that. Oh man. Okay, the next type of problem, which I think you guys are going to do okay with this one, but the next type, it gets really weird, but it's really cool because you can do that. Okay. I'm just alluding to things now. Sorry.
What would happen if you didn't have the equals 0?
If you didn't have that zero product property, this problem is pretty hard to do, if not impossible. Actually, there is something you could have done, but that's later. But so there's possibilities. Okay. Can anyone give me what the first binomial with x equals -3 would have been? X plus 3. That would have been your first binomial because that would have given you that. Can someone else give me the second binomial? x minus 7, and that still equals 0. So don't forget 0 doesn't disappear. Okay, then you do your FOIL, and you should get x squared plus, all right, I guess I did file.
File? What?
Because he did
First, inside, last.
Yeah, and the whole point of that is it doesn't matter which ones you do at what order. All right,
I did it. So then what's
you could do philo, you could do oil.
oil.
Oil. Yep. Let's say it. It's Scottish.
Yeah, I like
You
oil.
could do oil.
Can we just do oil instead of oil?
You could do oil.
Yeah, we can do oil.
Okay, so you should have gotten. Make sure.
Then
Then you have that. Yeah, standard form. It comes out quicker with FOIL standard form. Yes, that does make it easier. Okay, that's your equation. You guys got that? Okay, but are all answers gonna be integers? No, and if they're not, it's okay. I'm gonna rewind here, guys, with this problem because I want to show you how I did it. Why you're really allowed to do it. Okay, this is gonna get weird, but this is gonna help you for the next type of problem. Okay, I didn't know that it was x plus 3. I don't know how you got that. I don't know. But you could have gotten it anyway from the equation. Okay, this is an equation, right? I want to get, and this is the whole idea, it's weird, but I want to get 0 by itself. That's basically what I want to do. So do you notice I have x here and then negative 3 there? How do I get 0? And really you want to get it on the right. So how do I make this 0? I add 3, right? Add 3. You're right. So these would cancel out, and that did give me 0. You guys good with that? That's true. I did it to both sides. I'm not breaking any properties. And then what do you do with these two? Can they just combine together? Now they're left x plus 3, right? That's my binomial. And that's what I did on the work on the last problem. So that's how I do that problem. If you didn't know it was the opposite. How did you know it was the opposite? Well, you just work it out, make 0 equal one side, then you got the other. Same thing, yeah, you can use the first way, but now on these next problems, I'm telling you right now. Okay, here I want 0 to go on one side, typically the right. So how do I get rid of positive 7? Subtract 7 from both sides, and I'm left with x minus 7 equals 0. Where's the binomial? It's right here. So all I do is I take those binomials, and I got my answer. And you're like, man, that's a harder way of doing that problem. Well, not on these next ones.
Isn't that like mostly the same thing where we're just skipping steps?
Yes. So now I'm going to give you a problem where we really want to do this. Okay, so let's come. Okay, here's the next problem. Your answers are not integers. One of them is x equals negative 1/2, and the other one is x equals negative 3/8. Okay, so what I want to do here is I realize, okay, I can get the binomials, but they wouldn't be integers. They'd be fractions, and we did not factor any of these as fractions, have we? Have we gone x plus 1/2 times x minus 3/8? Have we done that? No. So we're not going to get that on this answer. This is what we're going to have to do. Now, please listen to me. It's going to seem kind of complicated and weird, but you're trying to solve for 0. It's a little weird here, so we're twisting this up. All right, ready? Ready? Stay with me. Stay with me. The first one. Everyone look up here so you're not confused. This is how I do it. I do want to get integers. I do not want to have fractions. Okay? So the way I'm going to do it here is I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Why would I multiply both sides by 2?
Because it gives it 1.
I get that to have no more of a denominator, and I'm ending up with 2x equals negative 1. Okay, but I still wanted what on one side? 0. So how do I get add 1 to both sides? And you're left with 2x plus 1 equals 0.
For the next one, it's not. So we're trying to get the right side of 1.
The right side to be,
Fraction.
well, you really want the right side to be 0, and you don't want any more fractions.
So but like in the first step, you want the fraction or the
Get
right
rid of the
side
fraction.
equal.
Yes. So same thing here. All right. You're like, what did I get here? It's 2x plus 1. Now, if I got 2x plus 1 on yesterday's homework, what would you have gotten for x? Negative 1/2, right? Isn't that what you would have subtracted 1, divided by 2, you would have got negative 1/2. Okay, so you're working backwards. All right, on this one, does anyone think they know what to do on this one? Multiply both sides by 8. Both sides by 8, and I'm left with 8x equals negative 3. Like, that didn't help. Well, it got rid of fractions. And then, what do I do to both sides so that 0 is by itself? Add 3 to both sides. And please, does 8x plus 3 combine into one term? No, it's separate. It's 8x plus 3 equals 0. And now these two are my binomials. And you're like, well, what do I do with them? Well, what do I do with this one and this one? Foil it. Then you get your quadratic.
So FOIL just gives you in standard form and he does the numbers or whatever, but like FOIL can get you this.
FOIL will get you the same terms, but then you have to rearrange them again. So yeah, you might as well use FOIL. I was ready to say something else. FOIL, because that's going to help you to get it in the right format real quick. But not always. Sometimes you have to rearrange. What's 2x times 8x? 16x squared. And what's 2x times 3? 6x. 1 times 8x? 8x and 1 times 3. Equals 0. What's my final equation? 16x squared plus 14x plus 3 equals 0. That's your quadratic equation. And now listen to me carefully. If you were going from last night's homework, or actually a few nights' homework, where you're trying to factor this, you know what you would factor it into using the bridge method? You would factor it into 2x plus 1 times 8x plus 3. What would your answers be? Negative 1/2 and negative 3/8. Now we're going to work backwards.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let me give you guys one to work on. It's on the bottom page 259. Let's go with, 4 is good. I think that's a good one.
We only do it like, you know how we have this way, but we also have the way we did in the previous one?
You can always do it this way.
Okay, but
You can't always do it the other way, the first way, because that only works when the numbers are whole already.
okay, so can we just do whole numbers with
You could do a mix, yeah,
Wait, but we can still do the ones with whole numbers like that? Like
the first way. Oh, the second way, yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yes, you can. So the two numbers, now look at number 4. You see how they give you 6, 3/4? What are they saying there? X equals 6 and x equals 3/4. So that's what I'm writing up here. X equals 6 and x equals 3/4.
Wait, so the only way to check it is to factor completely, right?
Yeah, go backwards and work the problem out and see if you get those two answers to start. Yeah, you're working backwards. And really, checking is working backwards. That's what checking is. How do I check an addition problem? By subtracting, which is going backwards. How do I check a division? Multiply, going backwards. Yep.
Sometimes I forgot yesterday's lesson.
Today it is,
Okay, good.
but not on Tuesday.
I didn't know.
Quiz. Yep.
I guess so for the fraction you can multiply by like 4 and get this cancel out and get like 4x on that side. But for 6, would you just say you multiply by 1?
This one?
Because it's already a whole number.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have to, you could multiply by 1. You're left. You just subtract 6 from both sides. You get x minus 6 equals 0. That's your binomial.
Because the next one you get a fraction.
Yeah.
So you can do it from there.
Whoa, hold on. So here, see, you could subtract 3/4. You're left with x minus 3/4. You don't want that. But if I multiply both sides by 4, I'm left with 4x equals 3. And then I subtract 3 from both sides, and I get 4x minus 3 equals 0. So now I have my second binomial. What do I do with the first binomial and the second binomial?
Oil.
Foil it. Yes, sir?
So, wait, I think I got that. Oh, you multiply both sides by 4.
Yes, both sides by 4. And you're allowed to do that. Any equation, you're allowed to multiply by the same number. You're allowed to add the same number. And we're doing that so that we get 0 on one side. You're solving for 0. You want 0 to be on that other side.
So I just used x minus 6, x minus 3, because I didn't put the 4.
Oh.
But it got in, and I could do bridges.
But when you work out the bridge, you get a quadratic, and if you were to factor that quadratic, you wouldn't have got this answer 3/4. You would have gotten 4 or 3, whatever the number was. All right, I get 4x squared minus 3x minus 24x plus 18 equals 0. And adding like terms, I get 4x squared minus 27x plus 18 equals 0. That's your quadratic. Complicated, by the way, not easy.
What would you do?
Because then you have
How would you do that?
Oh wow, really? Okay, cool.
You're gonna be like period.
All right, any questions here? This is the time for questions. Questions. Yes, ma'am.
On like the first part with x equals 6, I multiplied 6 on each side.
Okay, you're allowed to multiply by 6 on each side. That's not improper, but you would have gotten 36 equals 6x. So then you're like, wait, that didn't help. Yeah, so then how do I get rid of this 6? Just subtract it. Yeah.
Or you multiply by 1/6.
Yes, you're going to end up with 1 equals 1/6 x. But then you still have your fractions to deal with. You don't want fractions.
You put 1 over 1/6, which is 6.
What? Okay, Marissa.
Okay, in this chapter, or in chapter 10, are we gonna have these problems with decimals, and if so?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Decimals aren't bad.
Okay. Last chance for questions. I'm telling you right now.
Whoa. He's messing with his mom's keys.
That's okay. No, he's not. That's a good
No, it's
thing.
car keys.
Okay, I have 16 of you in here, and I need 15 of you to get this problem right. 259, number 5. Your homework will be expanded or reduced based on the results of this problem. Number 5, yeah, serious.
And can you check these or no?
You can, but it is, I mean, like on this one, you have to use bridge method, and it's not impossible, but it is tough. X equals. So they gave you x equals -5/4 and x equals -2/3.
I'm super scared.
Mr. Hubbard, he's really scared. He's really scared, Mr. Hubbard.
Can I ask one question
So-
about the sign?
Okay. I got confused.
If you multiply by 4, would it be x equals -5? Would you keep the negative, or would you get
Yeah, it'd be 4x equals -5, right?
Correct.
-5 would stay.
Language.
Should I make 16 of you get it right?
Yeah.
16 of you need to get it right, or it gets expanded. If 16 or more get it right,
We got
decreases.
This. We got this.
We only have
17 of us.
See, Mr. Ray was so confident that we wanted to bring
You have 30 seconds.
Even though we only have 7
And some of your classmates are like trying to make you not get that done.
Are you kidding me?
Can we check with people?
No, sorry. I can answer from here, yes.
When it's like, say it's 5/4 and then you times 4, it's 5 more c times 4, would you put like the denominator or whatever you're doing, and you multiply by the denominator?
Yeah, so the 4 should be gone on that one. Okay, I'll give you a few more moments here.
So
So you wanted an
in
equation.
that equation.
30 seconds, and that's final. Shh, hold on. I'm actually allowing this a little bit. These people are-
Well, I was just saying that we had 15 and we had to have 15 get it right. Then they said, yeah, we told you to get 15. So that's every single thing.
Okay. Check your answers and be honest here. And someone has to check your answer. If no one checks your answer, it doesn't count. The answer is 12x squared plus 23x plus 10 equals 0.
Wait, okay, what? I don't know what to check. Okay.
Did everybody get it?
If one person got it wrong, we're done.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because it was one person could get it wrong, but then Nick wanted the challenge.
Sorry, guys. I was trying to challenge us.
Wait.
It's not bad to challenge, but that was a stretch.
Well, you see, little did you know it's opposite day, so now we have no class.
All right, raise your hand if you got it.
Raise your hand, raise your hand.
Oh my, wow.
Got it right?
Raise your hand. That's okay. I never finished.
But since it's opposite day, wow, this is bad. Okay. All right, let me give you your homework.
Wait, what?
Serious.
What?
What do you say?
8 through 18 even.
Yeah.
40 minutes, oh my goodness.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray, what would it have been if
Can you teach
No. This is the normal assignment. I said it. Page 254.
I guess I'll be the book boy.
Hi, Swivel.